This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Thanks to those of you who are watching right now, and if you have any questions along the way or any comments, just jump on that chat feature and send them over to me. And of course, you can listen or watch the recorded version all on my YouTube channel, Vaughn Sigmund, the Business Mechanic, anytime at your leisure. This show's for anyone who has the awesome role of managing people. People like, hey, are you a business owner? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an executive or manager who has been put in the position of getting things done with a team of people? This show's designed to help you get more done and make your life and your associates' life much more productive, less stressful, and far more rewarding. I share leadership tips and management strategies that will, if you use them, will make you a high-impact manager and leader. So let's get to the show today. For today, I'm going to share 4 tips to becoming a great manager and leader, because the best managers are great leaders. Now, some say that managers aren't leaders and leaders aren't managers, that those two jobs are completely different. But the truth is that a manager has to be a leader, and a leader has to know how to manage. Many people in business believe that the job of a manager should be only about directing or controlling, and that the job of a leader should only be about motivating and setting direction. But we know that this is never the case in any great company. A manager has to be able to motivate and inspire people, and we need leadership in management as much as we need management in leadership. And the scenario generally is someone has a great employee, someone who comes to work on time, does a great job, is very effective at what they're doing in their role. And now they need a manager, and they go to that best employee and they make them a manager. And now tactically, they're probably very, very, very well informed and trained of getting all the tactics done in that job. But their role now is really about getting their job done through other people on their team. And rarely is the case that an employer takes the time, makes the time and investment to train that new manager on how to be a leader. So the first tip in being a great manager is you've got to be a great leader. Because very often that person that just got put into that new role as a manager, all that power goes to their head. And I've seen it happen a million times. It goes to their head, and now they're the boss, and they start acting like the boss. And they utilize this command and control method that in the end only works temporarily. What they need to learn how to do is to be able to get their employees to do what you want them to do, but want to do what you want them to do. And you got to understand not only what you need them to accomplish, but what do they need? Do you know what they need? How does what they need tie into what you need? How much time have you spent getting to know them? Just having conversations, having lunch with them. You got to understand that very often just being human, being yourself, well, that's inspiring. That's a role of a leader that many people don't take into account. Just being a great person, someone that's easy to talk to, that's open and transparent, that's inspiring. How do you inspire? Have you got a method that you believe inspires your people? If not, if you feel like you could use some improvement there, it starts like this. It starts with mutual respect and admiration. How much admiration have you shared as a manager? Because it's a two-way street. How much of and how have you focused on your efforts of earning respect yourself? Being self-aware and investing in your own self-development are huge, important factors in becoming a very effective leader. You have to have confidence in yourself. And your confidence is what your team thrives and feeds on. But often, very often, that lack of confidence that's not earned, it's not earned confidence, that you're acting like you're a know-it-all, but you don't really know it. You're not being honest about what you don't know. You're not being real. Well, you people see right through that. If you're not truly good at everything, admit it. There's nothing wrong with that. Your people are going to respect you for that. That's just being real. If you're acting like a know-it-all, you're acting like you know everything, well, it has the opposite effect. Your people see right through that. It erodes the level of respect you'll get. You have to know how you're really viewed. And always understand, I constantly hear this from managers and executives. Well, my people all love me. They never say anything bad to me. They never tell me what I'm doing wrong. Well, of course not. They're your employees. They're your direct reports. They're not going to be that honest with you. It's the rare person. It's the exception of an employee that's going to be honest with you until they're just fed up. Most of the time, they want to make you happy in some way. I'm going to say it this way. They're going to kiss your ass and make you feel good about you. Because nobody wants to tell the boss that what they're doing is not effective. It just doesn't work that way. And if you're highly confident, but in a way that's not earned, a way that's not earned you respect, then you're on a very difficult path. You have to be real with yourself. You have to be able to handle pressure. You have to be able to handle challenges. And when things get tough or things don't go your way, things don't work out, can you contain that? Are you cool and calm? Because that's what your people need. They're looking to you for guidance and pace. How do you control those emotions? How do you control those highs and lows? And are you even aware how you come across when things are going tough or things aren't going your way? And if you can't control those emotions, you need to learn to. And if you can't learn to do that, you're not cut out to be a leader. And you probably shouldn't be managing people. When failure happens, and it always will, how do you respond? Is the first thing you do when things don't work out, look for someone else to blame? That's a big warning sign. Or on the other hand, do you stop and think and say, wow, this didn't go well. What could I have done differently? What did I do wrong? And when things don't go well, how do you come across in public? And if you're mad, if you're disappointed, you need to get something off your chest, go someplace else, kick the cat in another room, or call your sounding board and vent. Call your friend, call whoever you know is a safe place to call, but vent in private. Do all this out of the sight line of anybody that either works with you or for you. Just don't let your peers, your boss, or especially employees see you have to vent. You're only human. You can't hide human emotion, but you've got to be able to control it. You need to understand that who you are and what you can do, how you come across to your people. Don't be more confident in things that you aren't. And then just be real. Now, we're going to go to a quick break here. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about, from a leadership standpoint, fighting being popular. Because the popular thing is not always the best decision to make. We'll be right back. Hey, YouTube, how are you today? Appreciate you joining me. We're talking about being a great manager and a leader. And I'm giving you 4 tips today on how to combine those two responsibilities, being a great manager and leader. I'm going to tell a few stories. Anytime you have any questions, you want some input, a little coaching or mentoring from me, feel free to contact me through the website or right here through YouTube. I appreciate you joining me on this. We're going to have a great discussion for the rest of the show today. It's the fastest hour of my life. It always flies by way more than I ever anticipated to do. but I'm trying to provide you with all the content and training and coaching I possibly can through this camera. And I'd love to have some personal contact with you anytime you want to reach out to me. I'd love to be able to do it. I'm thrilled to and honored anytime anybody reaches out to me. So if you're interested and in more than just a quick conversation, get in touch with me. I'll give you a free consultation, no charge to you. We'll see if what I do and what I can help you with is of value to you, and we can work something out. I've got coaching programs, mentoring programs, training programs that we can do online, or we can do over the phone through Skype. I can train your entire team virtually if you need me to. I can do that on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. I've got all kinds of programs I can tailor to you. We're getting ready to go back, and we'll talk to you in a few. Welcome back. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're also on YouTube Live right now. When we went to commercial break there, we talked about coming back and talking about fighting being popular, because the popular decision may not always be the best decision. The things that are most painful are very often the best path to take, because easy is generally a cop-out. It's a cop-out, and it's going to bite you later. And I can't tell you how many times I've been able to at least think in my mind. I control myself from saying I told you so, but I'm thinking I told you so. You know, go do what you think you want to do, but it's going to bite you. I had one of those conversations yesterday with one of my clients. You need to do what has to be done, as long as it's moral and it's legal. And then when you're trying to make the decision, the hardest decision to make is generally the best decision to make. It's the right thing to do. And one of the challenges we face as managers and leaders very often is the tough decision of firing someone. And yeah, firing someone is a great example of leadership. And let's talk about that, how it goes between being a manager and a leader, and how much leadership is involved in firing someone. So self-reflection is part of firing someone. Self-reflection on your part. How much of their lack of performance or failure is your fault? What have you done or not done that's prevented their success? Did you hire the right person? Did you put them in the right position? Did you train them properly? Remember the 15 reasons why employees don't do what they're supposed to do? Go listen and watch that show, Tips for Improved Performance, available on YouTube. Subscribe to it while you're there. I won't go through the whole list, but some of the highlights are: they don't know how to do it. They don't know when to do it. They don't know how long it should take to do it. They think your way's not going to work. They think their way's better. And they're just not performing. And that's when you've got to stop and think, okay, have I been a great mentor? Have I been a great teacher to this person? Have I told them how to do it? Have I shown them how to do it? Have I observed them do it in front of me and then provided them feedback? That's the 4 tenets of teaching: is tell them, show them, have them do it, and provide feedback. And let's talk about that feedback. You got to give honest feedback regularly. You got an honest, candid, real. Again, this isn't being popular. That's what holds up more managers than anything else from being effective, is their fear of being disliked, of becoming unpopular. And let me tell you, that could not be further from the truth. People really appreciate knowing where they stand and you being candid with them. Sitting down with them when they're not performing and warning them, letting them know where they stand, and warning them that due to their lack of performance, when it gets to this point where you're thinking about firing somebody, this is when your candidness really needs to get stepped up. Have you sat down and warned them that their lack of performance is going to put their job into jeopardy? And ask them, what do you think you're willing to commit to save your job? and allow them some input and time to make adjustments. But you got to make sure you're always using the SMART method, the specific, measurable, agree upon, realistic, and time bound. That you've sat down with them and they specifically know what they're not performing well at, what measure you're using to determine this lack of performance, that you've had a conversation and they've agreed that they're going to go work on this, that the job is absolutely reasonable, what you're expecting is achievable, and then they've got a certain number of days to get this done. And typically you want to give them 30, no more than 45 days for you to see a performance improvement. It's got to be time bound. They got to know, and that's being fair to them, and that's being candid with them, that they've got a certain amount of time to turn that performance around. And that really accomplishes two things. One, well, several things, but one, they've been warned, so they can go fix it, and hopefully they'll get better at it. Or if they're not willing to put the work into it, you've told them that their job's in jeopardy, they can start looking for another job. In the end, one or two things are going to happen, and both benefit you. If they're not willing to put the work in and they leave, they quit, then you just benefited. If they're not willing to put the work in, let them go find another job. Then you don't have to deal with it anymore. Same time, you've given them the opportunity to go improve their performance. That's being fair to them. Now, a little bit of warning here. Some people get a little over-aggressive with this firing thing. They get fed up with it. They finally get to their point, their boiling point, that they got to sit down and they let this person know where they stand. Too late very often. But they sit down, they give them the warning, and then it can't be 1, 2, 3, bang, you're fired. You can't be warn them today, give them a day, and then the next day fire them. You got to give them time to improve. However, it can't be warn them again, let them go for a while, maybe warn them again, warn them, and then get fed up again, 4, 5, 6 months later and fire them. It can't take forever, because doing that creates a huge internal problem with other employees. Believe me, everybody that works with this individual knows they're not performing. And more importantly, they're waiting and watching on how you are going to handle this. They watch everything you do and are constantly judging your leadership. And you are either earning or losing respect along the way. Then once you make the decision, after you can put your head on your pillow and know that you did everything you could have done to help this person with their performance and get it turned around, and this can take sometimes months, and as long as you're seeing improvement, stick with it. If you don't see any improvement or you see a decline, you got to make the decision. You got to do that quickly. It goes back to the old adage, hire slow, fire fast. When it comes time to part ways with somebody, it may not be popular, but it's one of those tough decisions that you have to make and move on with it. 70% of managers out there avoid that candid conversation because they fear some kind of aggressive action on the other person's part. It doesn't happen. They appreciate you letting them know where they stand. So we're going to go take another quick break. I'm going to come back to the next tip in all this, which is how the best managers communicate. Communication it takes on a lot of different forms, and we're going to talk about how to listen and deliver your message when we come back. We'll be right back. Okay, YouTube, that firing people, that's tough. In fact, I'm going to do a whole show sometime in the future on how to properly fire somebody. The lack of that aggressive action when it needs to happen, as long as it's fair, is one that really trips up a lot of companies, a lot of teams. You got to part ways with underperformers, and sometimes you've made some mistakes in bringing on the wrong person to fill that role, and sometimes you haven't done what you needed to do. And yeah, very often you can turn somebody around. There's enough success stories out there that putting that effort into somebody is well worth it on your part. That's going back through those 15 reasons why employees don't do what they're supposed to do. You got to just do a quick inventory on your own self. Did you tell them when? Did you tell them how? Did you tell them why? Did you teach them how to do it? Have you communicated with them? Have you given them feedback? All those things are in those 15 reasons. If you've done that well, and they're still not performing, you got to move on. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. We love them, but yeah, and they may be a very popular person. That's the really tough part of firing somebody is if everybody likes them, but they've done something wrong and they're not performing well, you got to make that decision. You got to do what's best for you and your company. And often trying to remain popular is very detrimental to your company. Very detrimental. There's a series of books I used to read with a character in it, Meyer. It's the Travis McGee series. That just gave away my age. But Meyer always said the hardest thing to do is always what you need to do. I'm going to go back. Welcome back. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We are also live on YouTube right now. So jump on there. The chat feature is on. Subscribe while you're on my channel, The Business Mechanics Show. I'd love to be able to interact with you. So we were talking about avoiding being popular and making some tough leadership decisions, management decisions. And now I'm going to move on to the next part of being a great leader, which is, before we get to number 2, there's an exercise I want to put you through. Because there's one thing about being tough. There's one thing about being demanding. That's important to be in leadership, but being fair, being inspirational about it. But on the other hand, are you a boss or you're a manager that's going around looking for and is focused on catching everybody doing things wrong all the time? It's all they're getting is negative feedback from you. Well, there's a time and a place for that, but keep in mind the emotional bank account, because you've got to make deposits into that emotional bank account. That's inspiring. That's being a great leader. You got to catch them doing it right often. And the way to do that is manage by walking around. And while you're walking around, check your mind. Make sure you're looking for people doing things well or for reason to go over, pat somebody on the back and thank them. Being sincere with them. This can't be false. It's got to be something that's real. Here's an exercise. Take 6 pennies, put in your left pocket. Start the day with those 6 pennies in your left pocket. And during the course of the day, your goal is to transfer those pennies from your left pocket to your right pocket. And what gives you the right to make that transfer is that you've caught somebody doing something right. And you've thanked them, you've patted them on the back, you've shown your appreciation. And each time you do that with an individual, you can take a penny, move it from your left pocket to your right pocket. And your goal every day is to empty your left and have it all in your right. If you retrain yourself with that little exercise, let me tell you, that's inspiring. That's being a great leader. And being a great leader is going to make you an even better manager. Try that. It works. And you got to also understand that everybody on your team has a future. Are you considering their future? Are you only worried about your future? You need to worry about their future too. How many people in your company are being promoted? Or if you don't have a need for promotions, maybe your company's not growing. Maybe this lack of development of your team is keeping a lid on the growth of your company. You may have a leadership problem, because great leadership in an organization generally creates growth. Growth requires more employees, and some new positions are going to be created. Do you need experience to manage this growth in employees? Well, you think so. You may think you need to go to the outside to get that experience, to come in and manage people. And sometimes you do. Well, I would say if you're constantly going to the outside to bring in management, you've failed as a leader. Because if you're really thinking about them, your team, their future, then you are always thinking a step or two ahead of where they are and where you want to get them to be. You need to plan on training and developing your key employees way before you ever need them to. Don't put them in the position and then train them. Start training them ahead of time so it smooths the transition into a position of authority. And then when the need arises and you have them trained and ready to go take on this new responsibility, you don't have to go to the outside more often. Sometimes you do, but constantly going outside, not good. Going outside to hire for new positions of authority is very dangerous. Sometimes it's necessary, but it's dangerous. Understand that. You're better to grow who you know. Write that down. I just came up with it. That's really good. Better to grow who you know. So, I got a little carried away with this first topic. I'm going to move on to the second one. I lose track. This is the fastest hour of the week for me. I always over-prepare for this, but it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. So let's tie this one up. It takes time. It takes practice on your part to be both a great leader and a great manager. You have to find what works and then deploy it often. Sincerely be interested in your team, each individual's future. Train them, reward them, recognize their hard work, catch them doing it right. Most important is you. Be honest, be transparent, know what you're good at, know what you're not very proficient at, and be honest about that. Don't try to be something you're not. Be yourself and know what your strengths are. Don't be someone you're not. You got to deal with your problems with calm and steadiness. Don't let them see you sweat. Don't get upset in front of them. You got to deal with problem employees swiftly, but with knowledge that you're probably part of the problem. Own that part. Make sure you've done your part to make them successful. Don't let problems linger. They can't linger too long because it erodes your level of respect with the team that supports you, because respect is earned. They don't have to want to do anything you ask them to do. That's that command and control. But your goal in all this is through your inspiring leadership is you turn that around. They're going to want to do anything you need them to do. That's what great leaders achieve. You have to inspire them. You have to inspire them to want to be successful personally. And that in turn will make your company successful. And keep in mind as a manager, you have to focus on what has to get done. You've got your tactics, you've got your protocols, you've got your goals that you've got to get achieved. Things have got to get done. But you'll get it done a whole lot better, a whole lot more effectively if you have strong belief in your team and you're showing them respect. In turn, you'll get back respect. And more importantly, if you've got a team member that's underperforming, deal with it. What are you doing about it? So continue working on being a better leader. Moving on to the second very important tip of being a great manager and a great leader. The best managers are good communicators. And when we come back from break, I'm going to get into communication, listening, how to be a great listener, which is part of communication, and then how to deliver better, more effective communication to your team, keeping them informed, some tactics around that. We'll be right back. We're halfway done with the show now. Abraham tells me in my earphone, so hope you guys are getting something out of this. I was a little long-winded in the first section, as I always am. That's my nature. But we're going to get all this done today. There's some great material we're covering, so that whole firing people, being calm, controlling your emotions, you got to always remember that your people who report to you are always looking to you for their inspiration. Your mood creates the environment they're working in. And that environment is going to dictate, it rubs off on them, it's going to dictate how they're performing, how they feel today. Very often managers lose the realization that everybody feeds on them. And then if you're in a bad mood, guess what? It puts a collar on everybody that reports with you today. They're oh, don't talk to him. He's in a bad mood today. Don't talk to her. She's really down today. She's really sad today. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. You've got to check your emotions. You got to, for those 8 hours or whatever your shift is as a leader or a manager today, you got to be able to check that. If you need to go vent, go do it in private. If you get emotional, check yourself. You got to be able to control that. And if you need to go get something off your chest, do it outside of the view of your employees. And understand when you get bad news or something's not happening, take that deep breath. Check yourself, because you can't ever blow up or show your emotions in front of your people. That just erodes respect like crazy. It'll keep people being honest and real with you. Now, yeah, I talked a lot about being real in all this, but being real and being smart is another thing. Welcome back. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're also live on YouTube right now on the Business Mechanics Show. I appreciate you guys joining me today. We're talking about 4 tips to being a manager and a leader. The two work hand in hand. So we're moving on to my second tip, which is around communication, because the best managers communicate well. And the best way to communicate is to share information with those who need to be in the know. Which sounds pretty simple, right? Can't tell you how many times this gets skipped. More importantly on top of communicating is listening. Most managers know how to deliver information. But how good are they at that? What's the tone? Is there an opportunity to discuss the communications or is it simply a download? When you get everybody together, do you just download on them, or do you make it a discussion? Do you turn that into a Q&A session? Do you get input? Do you get ideas? On the other hand, do you keep people informed? Are you keeping them up to date on what's happening in the department or the company? How the company's doing, or is the team achieving goals? Is the company achieving goals? Because you really want to align those things. And you can't communicate too much. You really can't. The more you communicate, the more you share company news, there's less gossiping that happens. There's more pride that takes place, or more inspiration that takes place, more motivation that takes place to be successful. Everybody wants to be successful as long as they're working for a great leader. Great leaders communicate. One of the best ways to communicate with your team is just form a habit. And that habit is a 5-minute huddle every day at the beginning of a shift, right at the beginning of a day. Have a 5-minute huddle with your team. Standing up, real quick. Have a typical agenda. Share whatever information needs to be shared, but most importantly, how the team is doing, how the company's doing, what's expected of the team today, what everybody needs to achieve, where projects stand, or how well sales are going. Always leave enough time for open communications. Don't make it a download. You want some input in this. That's that relationship that you want to build with your people. In the early days, if you're just forming this habit, you're just taking on this tactic, 5 minutes might not be enough. It may not get it done. But the more often you do this through the first couple weeks, the more you communicate, you have these 5-minute meetings that may start out as 10 or 15-minute meetings. They'll get down to 5. The more you do it, the shorter the meetings, those huddles are going to be. The other thing is you need to have kind of a structured communication process. Are you having weekly tactical meetings, or do you only meet when there's an emergency? That's not good form. If you have regular weekly tactical meetings with your team for about 30 minutes, no longer than an hour, you're going to be a great communicator. That's great leadership. When you're creating strategies, especially strategies or tactics, as their boss, as their manager, if you think about how to get things done, that's in the end going to affect them, that they are going to have to do what you're strategically or tactically thinking about, what you're going to need them to do. Include them, collaborate with them. Collaborate with your team whenever you can. You can achieve your critical success factors far more effectively if you do that. When you have buy-in, when you keep them informed, it's that kind of connection that keeps them engaged. And more importantly, if they're really good people, they're not going to be looking for another job because they love you. Now, on the other hand, that's the communication, the outward communication. You've got to also be a great listener, because listening is a big part of being a good communicator. When you listen, and I mean truly listen, what are you doing? Yeah, you're learning. And when you're learning, you're gathering the data and knowledge that you need. And you're also earning respect, because that listening is a sign of respect of what the person who is talking to you, what they have to say. And the fact that you take time to sincerely listen is huge. And I don't know why this is so hard for so many managers, but it is. Especially men. Men, they just want to deal with the question or the problem, deal with it quickly and move on. And men, let me ask you this. How many times has your wife or girlfriend said to you, "You don't listen to me"? You know why? Because we don't listen very well. Face it, own it. We're not wired to listen. This is against our nature in most cases. This is something you have to develop. You have to be very deliberate about. We listen typically to the point where we feel like we have enough information to solve the problem. Then we stop the conversation, give the solution, and move on. And that is not always the best route. I'm telling you, believe me, from my life, I had to learn this early. But once I learned it, it was a huge turning point for me. You can't be simply listening and at the same time formulating a response. No, it's got to be genuine listening. You have to listen to the point that really where you're sincerely, truly interested in asking questions. Remember, you're gathering data and you're learning things. And through that gathering of data, you're going to form some questions and learn yourself. People are going to come to you with problems. And very often they want you to solve that problem, and that's the worst thing you can do. And the reason why they want you to solve that problem is they don't want to take responsibility for the outcome if they solved it. So when people are coming to you, you're listening to their challenge, their problem, something they need to overcome, the best response you can give them as a great leader is don't give them the answer. Instead, respond by saying, "What do you think you should do?" Or, "How would you handle it if you were me?" Or, "How do you think you should handle it?" I got to tell you, this doesn't happen very often. That little scenario doesn't happen very often because we're just wired as managers very often to just tell them what to do and move on. But man, you're really shortchanging yourself and your team if you're handling it that way. Think about the power and the value of that response I just gave you. What do you think you should do? A, it shows some respect for the person you're listening to. It allows their opinion to be heard, because we all want our opinions to be heard, especially our significant others. And if they give you a great answer and you say something like, "Sounds good, how else can I help?" Well, that gives them confidence and drives and inspires them to take on more responsibility. And more importantly, it's safe and pleasurable to come to you when they've got a challenge. And they're providing solutions. They're providing solutions, not you. When we come back from break, we're going to learn about how to deploy some of those solutions they give to you. It works. It's great. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. We'll be right back. Fourth commercial break on the Business Mechanics Show here on YouTube Live. Really, again, I'm glad you're watching this, and I appreciate it. Send over any questions or comments you have during the course of the show. I'd love to be able to respond to those. Visit my website if you want to. There's a ton of information you can have access to there. vsigmon.com. It's V as in Victor, S as in Sam, IGMON. I'd love to communicate through you. Just send me a message. I've got all kinds of tools on there I can share with you. And more importantly, if you're interested in going from being a manager to a great leader, I can help you with that. That's what I do. I've got not only myself, I'd love to work individually with you, or I've got a team of folks that I work with too. They're out there helping managers become great leaders, whether you're a CEO, an executive who reports to a CEO, the manager of a department, or someone who wants to become a manager in the future. These are the kind of things that we talk about. They're on my website. There's in my podcast and these videos that's going to make you a significantly more successful person in your career. I promise you. It doesn't come naturally. I've had to study this for decades. I got better with it over time. I can almost tell you the turning point on each one of these that I'm talking about. This is real world stuff. I didn't read this out of a book. This all comes from my personal experience. And then it's confirmed by some of these leadership books that I've read, some of the podcasts and videos that I watch. None of this is really new, but I can tell you the things I talk about here, I've personally done, and it works. Getting ready to go back? Talk to you in a minute. Welcome back. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. We're also broadcasting live on YouTube Live, the Business Mechanics Show. Right now, if you go to YouTube and want to join us, I'd appreciate this. This is recorded for you to watch or listen to later. So while you're on there, subscribe. I'd love it. Like it and subscribe. So we're talking about the best response when somebody brings you a problem. And I'm telling you, in my experience and how it works best, is when somebody comes to you with a challenge or a problem, don't solve it for them. Ask them how they would like to solve it. It shows a lot of respect on your part, and more importantly, that you're listening to them. It allows their opinions to be heard. It opens up some options because your approach may not be the best approach. Sorry, you don't know everything. And if there's a great answer, if what they give you is a great answer and and you say something like, sounds good, how else can I help? You're inspiring them. You're giving them confidence. You're confidence that their job responsibility is not just a job. And more importantly, that coming to you is safe and pleasurable. That it's okay to come and talk with you about some of the challenges they face. And more importantly, you're learning because you're listening to all this. And if they're providing solutions, they're providing the solution to the challenge, and they learn from deploying those solutions, even if it may not be the best solution. They're learning from their mistakes. Let me tell you, it works. It works great. And if it doesn't work out for them, if it's not the proper solution to the problem, hey, bring them back in. Talk to them a little bit. What would they do different next time? Avoid, unless you're just put in a position you have to solve the problem. That should be your very last priority, is to solve the problem for you or for them. Make sure it's a coaching or a mentoring session. Because when you become a great mentor or coach and you avoid that command and control and being an asshole boss, you're teaching them lessons. I can tell you, there's a question I ask in every interview, and I've done this over 1,000 times, I guarantee you. Very important question, and it's almost the same response every time. It leads up to another question. I won't go into that, but who's the best boss you ever had? I ask that question. Who's the best boss you ever had? And almost every time it's a boss they had generally early in their career, but sometime in the career. Someone who took the time to coach, train, mentor. Someone that took them under their wing and developed them. And when you look at for reasons for turnover, reason why employees leave, well, over half the time it's because of a bad boss. And why do people stay? Why do people stay in the best companies on the planet? It's because they're being trained and developed. It's like the number one or the number two reason why people stay with a company is they feel like they've got personal growth that's taking place in the organization. So the more you think about your people as being the future, You're putting efforts into them of becoming better. You're communicating with them. It's a two-way conversation. You're not solving problems all the time. Communication isn't just company news. It's communication. It's listening and learning and helping them learn, develop, and grow. That's what keeps people happy, and that makes you very inspirational to them. And also, always remember, if you're always doing the talking, you won't have time to listen. Nope. So, in the end, the best managers are great communicators. They make the time to speak and have conversations, but more importantly, they follow the 80-20 rule. They listen 80% of the time and talk 20% of the time. They also make the time to listen. When you listen, you can spot problems, trends in your business, improve customer service. It creates collaboration. It's an awesome thing to do. The third thing we're going to talk about is the best managers know how to delegate. This goes into development of your employees too. But most effective managers understand that what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. What work should they be doing themselves? You got to think about during the course of the day what you're doing right now, and is it worth what you're being paid to perform that task? And if you don't trust your employees to do mundane tasks that are below your pay grade, that's a problem. It's a problem that most leaders don't have. Again, go back to the 15 ways to improve employee productivity. And of course, yeah, you can do it faster. You're going to do it more accurately. Why? Well, because you either have had the practice, you've got the business acumen, you've got the knowledge that has allowed you to do it well and do it fast. But if you keep on doing it and not allowing anybody else to learn, well, you're always going to do that. And that's not growing and learning for yourself, and you're certainly holding your folks back from growing and learning themselves. So let loose a little bit. Be patient, be respectful, but be a mentor, be a teacher, be a coach. That's being a great leader. Remember, the best bosses were always great teachers. Think about working smarter, not harder. Be considering during the course of the day, who can I train today? Put training into your daily diet, training and delegating. That's going to cut back on your stress. It's going to cut back on your hours, because when you get it off your plate, put on somebody else's. That's one less thing you've got to do. But you can't be one of those damn micromanagers who works a zillion hours a week. I have no respect for you. If somebody comes to me and brags to me they're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, you just lack leadership skills. I'm sorry. There's nothing to respect there. You may be respected for your hard work and your work ethic, but you're leaving a lot out, awful lot of things out that you really ought to be more concerned about. The best managers delegate tasks and responsibilities to the right person with the right talent who's going to get the job done right. But also understand that early on, it's going to take that person you're developing a lot longer with more mistakes than if you did it. You got to be patient with that. But in the long run, you and your team are going to be so much better off, because good managers select employees according to their skills needed for the role, but great managers select people for their talent. Always think about future talent. You got to be one or two steps ahead, thinking about what's going to be good for them and you in the future. So we're going to go to another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the best managers are quick decision makers. We'll be right back. Thank you, Abraham. So hopefully you got something out of delegation. I got to tell you, I see so many CEOs, business owners bottled up with doing so much mundane work. I'll tell you a quick story. I had one of my very first clients who owned a marketing company, a marketing promotions company. He sold the pins and the cups and the T-shirts and that sort of thing that advertise your business, your logo, that sort of thing. And Man, he was so frustrated. He was working a zillion hours a week. His business wasn't growing. As I'm doing the intake with this guy and doing a little bit of evaluation of what he's doing, he's very proud. He tells me the thing he's most proud of is his high level of customer service. And I said, well, tell me what customer service looks like. He says, well, I hand deliver as much of my product to the client as I possibly can. Okay, that's really nice, but how many hours a week are you spending delivering product to your customers? Oh, I'm 10, 15, 20 hours a week. All right, and if you put a label on it and send it FedEx and you got those 15 or 20 hours a week, what would you do with that time? Oh, that set him back in his chair. He hadn't thought about it that way. Because if he had that extra 15 or 20 minutes where we brought him around to, he could work on finding new clients. And the reason why he wasn't growing is he didn't have any new clients coming in because he didn't have time to go find new clients because he was out delivering his package and delivering this so-called great customer service that was killing his business. So many people get these blind spots. So many business owners get these blind spots as to what they're doing, but not understanding how it's affecting their business. And delegation is so key to all this. I got to tell you, it is something I learned early on. I'm going right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Vaughn Sigmund, and you're listening to the Business Mechanics Show here on BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Today we're talking about how the best managers are great leaders and how to combine those two. And the fourth tip I'm going to talk about today are the best managers are quick decision makers. Quick decision makers. Successful managers, they're smart, they're practical, they're pragmatic. More importantly, they're able to solve problems and make decisions quickly. Now, don't get that confused with the thing I just talked about. You're going to work through your people to solve problems, but you're going to do it quickly. You're not going to let problems fester. And especially when you got to make a decision on things that are important to your employees. You got to understand sometimes you're going to take risk. They got to be calculated risk. Sometimes you take a risk on an employee and you put them into another position or whatever. You give them an opportunity. But that's where being a good coach and being a good mentor gets involved. Quick decisions and making them quickly, quick decisions made quickly is relative. You got to know when to do it, when not to do it. Different decisions at different importance levels take more time. Doesn't mean that every decision has to be fast. But just don't let things hang on or get unresolved. That's the worst thing you do, is just let things go unresolved. Quick story, I had a manager once whose employees had come to me and they wanted a new microwave in the break room. This is such a simple little example. He wouldn't go spend $100. He wouldn't spend $100. They looked at this nasty microwave every day, which was just a major insult to them because he wouldn't spend $100. That's just silliness. So, yep,